Piece of the trouble out of 2 o'clock, watch it. Put an engine on fire. There's 4 of them 1 o'clock high. They're coming around, watch. Come on you guys, get out of plane, bailout. There's one, he come out of the bomb bay, hey, I see him. There's a tail gunner coming out, watch out the fighters. He bathroom Witchell, I see him. I'm on them, come on you son of a bitch. Luftwaffe in World War II. Its roots can be traced back to the bloody battlefields. When the First World War broke out in August, aircraft were not included in both sides' war plan. Frontline troops of belligerent fight on a wide field. Millions of people. The two sides have only deployed more than 5 and not equipped with any weapons, single and double tiers. Military pilots are like air drivers, responsible for sending scouts into understand the movements of the enemy. The first few months as the German occupation of Belgium approached, the Allies conducted extensive reconnaissance. German pilots in East County. The moving Russian troops were found. The German commander quickly dispatched troops to win more with talking about a big win at the Battle of Berg. While in West County, the French plane returned to report says enemy troops made fatal mistake, expose its flanks. France takes this to turn the tide. But it also left Europe in 4 years of the swamp of the battle. Since 1915, photography alternative sketches become a new means of aerial reconnaissance. Airplanes carry bulky cameras day after day to the front, shoot the boundless robes and batteries. The scout leaned out of the plane to face the wind. Shoot the enemy below with frozen fingers. The job is monotonous and dangerous. The plane must fly straight and smoothly for ground fire and later armed aircraft, apparently the best torch. Except for early detection, fighters are also used to drop bombs on the first bomb, just grenades or modified shell, but can destroy projectiles for factories and railroads soon. 1917, bomber experts develop bomb racks and bomb sights since then. When air superiority is bombers can carry out air strikes during the change to night when not available. Until the end of one stop, airplanes keep heading to the front, bombing bridges and airfields, strafing troops. Because of their existence, war becomes three-dimensional. The third use of aircraft in warfare is used as an attack system. For the general, the only purpose of flying the airport is to protect the reconnaissance, and for pilots and scouts, this means they can fight the guy on the other side. October 5, 1914, the first Allied victory in air combat. A French propulsion plane take down a German aviatic. Facing enemy planes with speeds of 1, most guns are powerless. While loading on the plane, machine guns can change that. Dutch designer Anthony Fokker has invented a device that coordinates propellers. Germany's Eindecker single machine load the submerged machine gun from be the first truly unusual fighter. Allied planes were hit hard because of him. The Fork disaster. In 1916, fighter squadrons began to appear. With the continuous development of formation, a whole new army. Fighter pilots came into being. Of the German 62nd Air, Max Immelmann and Oswald Boelcke are the first to drive. Fokker Eindecker's pilot. Immelmann conquers the western skies and becomes a but in June 1916, shooting on the plane, electric coordination device caused him to shoot his own propeller. A generation of aces from this movement. Immelmann invented the famous Immelmann flip. Today's airshows still use this complex maneuvers. Immelmann's master scissor ninja, Oswald Boelcke, is known as the air silkworm, father of Boelcke proposes reorganizing aircraft elites and become the captain of just a two. He trained Germany's greatest pilots. These include Manfred von Richthofen. Boelcke also created the Boelcke Code of Tactics. Point out, the pilot should attack from behind with the sun behind his designed to fire at close range. When encountering an attack from above, turn around and face the This air combat tactic is still in use. Autumn 1960, he recorded 21 contracted aircraft. 2 months later, increased that number to 40. And most of the first, like an ace pilot, he has good, almost exhausted. October 28, 1916. In a fierce dogfight he was with another German, collision and death. In the skies of World War, the greatest hunter is a handsome, angry, and humorous Prussian pilot. He is revered by his admirers as the Red. Keep fighting, keep flying, until the last drop of oil, the last heartbeat. Manfred von Richthofen. In 1915, Richthofen from the Prussian cavalry transferred to the Air Force. In the line served as a scout and bomber pilot. He was chosen by Boelcke, joined the Tasman flying team in France, later became the captain of the 11th Squadron. The squadron, because of the colorful plane, dubbed the Flying Circus by the British. During an air battle in July 1917, Richthofen suffered a head injury. Persuaded by superiors to leave the battlefield, he was loved by the Germans. Even the German emperor admitted that once he died, German morale will suffer. Although there are many concerns, in spring of during G's offensive, he got into the cockpit. April 21, Hongnan Bureau's reign of terror ends. He's chasing a British Camel fighter shot in the heart. Did this shot come from an Austrian machine or a Canadian pilot? Still a mystery. He fell behind the Allied front, buried by the enemy in a Supreme Army burial. He shot down a total of 80 treaty planes in his life. Before World War II, no other pilots achieved such a record. These air heroes are a special case in the they are howling bloody. Top alone. No matter how they died. In the eyes of a generation, they are comparable to their merits and experience, laying the foundation for a new generation of Luftwaffe. November 11, 1918. After 4 years of losing wars of attrition, the German Empire can only accept the armistice. Allied resolutions prevent German revival. The conditions set out in the armistice were extremely hard, extremely suppressed the Luftwaffe. According to Article 5, Germany must abandon 700 high-performance fighter jets and includes all Fokker Type 7 and 9 bomber formation. December 12, 1918. Government of the new German Republic declare obedience to conditions, but the Allies found that Germany 116 roadplanes were abandoned and 58 seaplanes. For the next 15 years, Germany put the follow-through. Luftwaffe, although officially dissolved in January 19, but his plane, Curry still has more than 9,000 planes, and he's not going to give up these air assets. On June 28, 1919, Paris peace talks. German delegate forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles. Things have changed. The victorious Allies were now more determined. Called off all military aircraft factories and asked the newly formed German government within hand over all Air Force equipment. Affected by this, aircraft factories in Germany but the Germans won't give up easily. German Army Chief of Staff Hans von General Zeckett promised by 1924, the remaining Air Force incorporated into the Wehrmacht. In addition, a new sport of gliding is emerging in Germany. Many future Nazi Air Force aides also started on government-backed German airlines, gain initial flying experience. More importantly, Germany established military ties with both countries are against Poland, have unusual attention, and both are isolated and hostile by the global community. April 16, 1920, treaty between Berlin and Moscow form a secret military alliance. The Soviet Union needs German technology. The country needs training facilities away from the attention. The two countries hit it off. Then 11 years of battle-hardened German veterans, trained at the same time as fledgling recruits. They were the vanguard of the future Luftwaffe. As the wounds of World War healed, the Allies gradually relaxed some restrictions in the Treaty of Versailles. The most obvious in terms of civil aviation in Germany. January 6, 1920, German state-owned airline Welding Aviation, founded under the leadership of E.L. Hudmirsi. Many pilots of Hansa Air later joined the Nazis. Luftwaffe. Milsi to the aircraft factory, a large number of modern aircraft, including 3 engines in service with the Luftwaffe, Rank 52. Rang Hayek 52 was called An, known by the Allies as Iron An. It's Hugo Rang, with his Rangyuk aircraft, one of the most successful designs. Rang 52 was originally designed for machine. The first Junker 52 was a single but poor performance. Milsi found Junker and offered to add to engine. mounted on two wings. The performance of the aircraft has been great. The new model will start production soon. November 1930, the improved Junk 52 in front of the debut passed the German Aviation Test Center in January. January 1931, first meeting with the public at Tempelhof Airport. Spring of the same, the first 12 Ronk Type 521 starts. However, Junker overestimated the demand for large. Only one in the end. Ronk 521 was bought by K. So after producing 7 of these aircraft, Ronk decides to stop production. Irony fell asleep but did not die. Then came the Ronk 523, open the market soon. Ronk 52 has become polite, such as Finland, Spain, Sweden. He's a mail carrier in China. In Canada, it was loaded with blessing, ship wood to remote locations. And his main job was done with Hansha Airlines. Airplane with typewriter and luxury goods such as and can cross the Alps in 8 hours. Fly from Berlin to Rome. This was a great feat for the planes of the time. Before the outbreak of a total of 400 Ronk 52 airliners. Late 1920s. Germany prepares to rebuild air power. The Luftwaffe is ready to come out. Arrived in the economic crisis of let many of the first cameras come to nothing, but the general plan is still. The plan was formally adopted in August 1932. 5 months later, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Hitler took over a unformed air power but new Nazi government, strong financial support for the Luftwaffe. A few hours after taking, Hitler appoints World War Ace his loyal dog. Hermann Göring was commander-in-chief of the Air Force, but much of the work to create the Air Force was handed over. Milsey joined the Luftwaffe in 1933. As Deputy Minister of Aviation, Milsey's first move is to produce fighter jets and bombers. Panhu Aircraft Factory in Germany, including Heinkel HE-51 biplanes. He Ronk 52 early designs including improved bomber, just a first aid, but a brand new model came out soon. Ironically, the most famous fighter in World War, Missy Smith, Bf-109, was almost abandoned on the September 1930. Messerschmitt Bf-109 takes to the blue sky. He was in World War II. The model that kills the most enemy and more than one brick, once used as a fighter escort interceptor, ground attack and reconnaissance aircraft. Messerschmitt Bf-100, larger production of fighter aircraft than other Axis, is the historical out. The tallest fighter jets reach more than 31,000. Although B-109 has shortcomings of one kind, short-range landing gear failure, but before the end of World War, he has always intimidated Allied fighter jets. Bf-109 is the name designated by BF is the abbreviation for because it was designed by the Bavarian aircraft factory. The factory was later renamed Messerschmitt. Therefore, the letter plates of some aircraft in the late World War II, the words My Yijiu is a Nazi Luftwaffe propaganda publication, and Messerschmitt and Air Force personnel officially used name. developed in all-metal single-seat fighter design competition to replace a la Dow 64 Kerr 60 biplane at first. Willy, founder of Messerschmitt, not invited. The reason is to blame Willy and Deputy Minister personal feud between Milsey. Willy designed a passenger plane for Hansa and it turned out to be a disaster for Hansa. However, due to Messerschmitt BF, the success of the 108 Typhoon power and many senior officers of the close relationship. Delay. A few months later, in early 1935, Bavarian aircraft factory led by Willy finally got the invitation, but Milsey suggested they will never try to win the game. At this point, the design of Bf 109 has been same as Bf 100. This new design, based on the lightweight structure of Messerschmitt, the main goal of lightweight, it is to reduce the various physical parts of the Bf 109 has a very typical design. All structural points are installed on the front fireproof board, including different engine parts and landing gear. Another important advance in Bf, his landing gear is integrated with the fuselage, so when necessary, the memory can be completely removed for overhaul. The fuselage on the landing gear is still intact. But this also brings up a big problem. The landing gear can only be a very small area, which makes the plane wobble on landing, difficult to keep balance. In fact, Bf 1 and 9 on takeoff, there are serious difficulties and many aircraft of this type are turning, easily biased or rollover. To make matters worse, his landing gear struts are longer. Therefore, the angle between the machine head and the ground, this makes the plane when taxiing, forward vision is almost zero. These ups and downs make Bf 109E's life full of and caused a lot of casualties. September 1930, Bf 109 conducts first flight test sent to Rexeline's Luftwaffe test center competes. He quickly came to prominence in the game because the participating aircraft of Arado proved seriously outdated. German Aviation Ministry received news Britain is producing Spitfires. This caused panic in Germany. 12 days later, the Bf 109B Type 1, largest air confrontation ever, kicks off. Fly before the outbreak of World War, boats have been seen as a symbol of terror. As early 1900, British novelist Herbert George Wells describes the scene of an airship raiding New York. Urbanization in ruin, a raging fire with corpses scattered everywhere. Some military generals did not pay attention to this, and the commander-in-chief of the German air, Peter Strasser, thinks, can conquer Britain with airships. Thinking of bombing enemy cities and industrial, not just Germans, but they, indeed a leader in airship technology. In 1914, airships are the only ones that can carry large aircraft for long-range strikes against strategic. However, at this stage of the war, no country's air force can make destructive airstrike scene described by Wells. Less than 80 km per hour, Zeppelin with metal structure, and the Shetlands of the plywood structure. Poor performance in air combat. Overshooting on the for guns and fighter jets in the they are like torches. One of the advantages of airships is on a moonless night, huge Zeppelin can avoid enemy protection and tracking. This great airship is known as the night assault. The German Army and Navy used the cover of the bombed numerous strategic targets with airships, including Paris. But the most meaningful target is German elementary school students can Led Zeppelin fly to the UK, and the UK will start a fire. 1915 Phoebe airship over UK impressed the public. However, the airship commander found that with the continued combat is not realistic. Because in the dark night, from a base in northern Germany or the war-ready country Belgium flies to the UK is an extremely dangerous mission. If Britain deploys night fighters and ground cannons with incendiary bombs, then fly to London with a huge airbag, it's tantamount to suicide. At the beginning of Germany wanted to use planes for strategic, but there has been a lack of suitable models until the Feta twin-engine bomber came out. Summer of 1970, Da began to attack the UK and caused heavy damage. Neither the British air defense nor the public bomber formations will launch air strikes in broad daylight. June 13, when 14 when first seen over London, people ran into the street to watch. Bombs falling from the killed 162 people. Kodak flies faster and higher than lead and hard to hit. When flying in, they used combined firepower to cripple the chase. Plus, the major bomber, much faster than Zeppelin's production. It's cheaper. Air Force capable of large-scale strategic bombing ultimately failed in World War because the immature Air Force can neither disrupt production, can't weaken the opponent's fighting spirit. Bombing is expensive and highly inaccurate. February 26, 19, Adolf Hitler, ignoring the Treaty of Versailles signed in 1990, ordered Hermann Göring to rebuild the Luftwaffe. Although the new Air Force is completely independent, but the ranks of its officers and pilots, still referring to the Army. It is said, Göring personally selected one for the Luftwaffe, marks different from other services. He chose the traditional German symbol eagle, just changed positions. Wehrmacht eagle with 2 claws, holding the Nazi Party, and the Luftwaffe's eagle, holding the swastika with only 1 paw. The other paw is tucked away in a threatening Green Design's logo for new Luftwaffe, but the reconstruction work was largely handed over to Milsey in 1930, leaving Hanscha to join the Air Force. Germany at the time, most bombers did not meet Milsey's requirement except for Iron N. Before Germany had real bombers, provoked a bombing mission. It is a wrong 523 meters. 1930 Ronk manufacturing plant receives a 1,200 Ronk 523 meters bomb. Kindle redesigned the model. Added 2 cannon turrets in the rear cabin. 1 on the roof and 1 on the bilge. The member compartment was converted to it can accommodate a bomb weighing 3,250 Ronk 52 bomber from Ronk 523 mm transporter developed. Therefore, it was named Ronk 523 mg 300 mm. July 1936, a total of 20 Ronk 520 sent to fight in the Spanish Civil War. They are newly formed. The Luftwaffe sent the first aircraft to the war. Many of Germany's early designs were just including the Heinkel 51 biplane, Herrenhoek 52 improved edition. Germany's goals for the next is to build a high-speed medium bomber, a similar U-Ronks 52. The base is provided by the machine. Early 1930s, Ernst Heinkel decided to build the fastest technology in his ambitious goal by the German aircraft factory and serious questions about trusting political. The company did launch one such airliner. He was notorious for being faster. Lockheed 9 Orion is even better. He's Heinkel and double lightning. This design immediately attracted the attention of senior Luftwaffe. They are looking for any aircraft that can be used for military. Heinkel V after the prototype of the bomber, always secret. He made his first flight in February. The VR interview of the ordinary equipment version will start soon. V2 has smaller wing. The bomb bay was converted into a 4-seat. 6 additional seats are added to the back of. Entered service with Hansa Airlines in 1930. Served at the same 5 more. The new version of the model is called Heinkel Ja. V3 is also a bombing round plane. It doesn't have a main bomb bay. Instead, there are multiple small bomb compartments. It is also armed with 3 boats of MG-50 for defense. Heinkel based on V3. Yaoyi, a rhombus. 10 were produced, but it ran out of power and ended up being sold to China. Early 1930s, V3 for 950, 708 kilowatts of Daimler Benz DB600 engine. Its speed immediately increased to 200, that is, 360 km. The Luftwaffe ordered more than 300 Heinkel Yao 11B machine. Some of them were sent to Spain, fight with the Wing Legion. Heinkel has proven that they can, faster than most of the fighter jets that came, and the 3 boats at the airport. Light machine guns are sufficient for chasing. This makes the Air Force has an illusion of security. Actually, the time for bombers to outpace fighter jets is, and Heinkel's poor weaponry is its fatal wound. Heinkel Ja, the monolithic bomb bay contains 4. The later model was 8 bombs. Plus can carry a 250 kg, 250 or 450 kilograms of SC-50. Each bomb is placed facing up, so when they were thrown out of the plane, will do a somersault. These standard bomb racks is the Luftwaffe. Common characteristics of the first gen, including Ronk 52. But they can only hold shells of 2 calibers. As the war goes on, Heinkel became a multifaceted beast, began to execute him early in the never thought of mission. In 1930s, the Luftwaffe found an ideal opportunity to test their young pilots, new weapons and innovative tactics. Germany sent a pilot volunteer and many planes to Spain. Support General Francisco Franco, overthrow the Republican government. July 1936, a total of guessed 523 meters was sent, responsible for bringing general air freight to mainland Spain. They are newly formed. The Luftwaffe sent the first aircraft to the war. These planes, in about, after 10,000 more were transported from Morocco, took on the heavy responsibility of the following month. Germany plus Spanish military. Early November, all aircraft aided by Germany were incorporated. So far, the Legion under the command of Gasp, with 100 planes and 5,000 troops. A total of 20,000 Germans take turns serving in accumulated valuable combat experience. Hitler believed that Spanish Civil was part of the anti-Bolshevik campaign. In Spain, the war also gave Germany the opportunity to, such as the Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighter, Heinkel 110 medium bomber, and later, Junker 87 Stuka dive bomber. The aircraft was originally in service with these planes, played an important role in the early days of German planes sent to Spain. No Nazi swastika on the tail. Instead, Franco, the flag of the National Army Air Force, to keep the world from thinking Germany supported the rebellion. The Uying Legion also has other units such as armored unit equipped with the number 1 Pro-tank. The unit was led by Wilhelm Ritter von Thomas. He was the deputy commander of the Africa, was in charge of training Franco's navy. Germany is still on the Spain, tested their 88mm heavy anti-aircraft tanks used to destroy the IRA, defensive offensive and aircraft. November 4, 1930, the first Ronk 50 shot by Soviet fighter jets near Madrid. 6 more were shot down over the next few weeks. It turns out that Ronk 52 is too. April 1937, all Ronk 52 bombers retired in Spain. In World War II, few planes like Ronk 87 dive bomber, engraved in the annals of aviation in the name of killing. Newly formed, one of the Air Force's most is a dive bomber that supports ground operations. That is, the Ronk 87 heavy dive bomber. He is more commonly known as Stuka. Since Hitler came to power in 1930, the German military began to put the concept of into real armaments. Leader of the Luftwaffe aircraft development program, Ernst Udet, watched a plane in the United States in Curtiss Airplane Show. Never forget. Driving, he ordered 2 immediately after Curtiss British and displayed in Germany. These American fighters promoted the birth of the German dive bomber. Stuka's audience. Time to explain that the German prefer dive bombers instead of horizontal bombers. They think previous bombers are only hitting small targets like the small ancient enemy army is more accurate. Stuka quickly caused panic in Europe, but he separated R&D resources for the Eurobomber. Germany originally planned to use for long-range strategic bombing. With dive bombers, the Luftwaffe is even more powerful. Made Britain and the Soviet Union suffer. Late 1930s, 3 Junkers 87As sent to Spain to be born, New Dow. Ronk 87B1 also followed. Because of technical defects, Ju-87A was not very successful in but 87B is amazing. They were used to attack enemy bridge command posts, artillery positions, and ships moored in port. Stuka created a legend on the Spanish battle. The Luftwaffe finally has a chance to show its power. April 26, 1930, Luftwaffe bombed Spanish town of Guernica. Tested his bombing tactics, but it also drew condemnation from the This is not the first city bombing in history, but the scale of the damage is more than 250 people died. 60% of the houses were during World War. The same disaster will repeat itself in many cities. Based on experience gained in Spain, German aviation ministry stopped Rank 523 meters bomb, but Rank 52 excellent performance in transport missions in Spain. Therefore became standard transport aircraft of the Luftwaffe. From 1935 to 1940, Rank Aircraft Factory has designed a total of different types of Rank 52 transport. During World War II, Rank 52 sent to serve in every theater of the German. In the Spanish Civil War, Type BI and Type B2 of BF joined the Wying Army, but the Germans soon discovered both models are flawed. Hitler saw the Spanish Civil War as a BF 900 million chance. The model has upgraded cannon. BF 109E Type 1 retained 4 MG-17. Many BF 109 later upgraded to E3 or E4. Airborne weapon from the MG-17 originally mounted, replaced with MGF or MG cannon. One will be concave with the British Spitfire. Zhang Changkong. During the Spanish Civil War, the Luftwaffe learned many valuable lessons. Germany's second aircraft has also developed amazing performance. At the same time, the tactics of the Luftwaffe were also, including Henkel 51E's ground attack tact and the four-finger formation of that is, double-click a group to cooperate. Wilhelmudes led the main force of the German 88th Fighter. Four formations perfected when Spain entered the war. This tactic is still very powerful in Europe. September 1st, for 26 p. 3 Rank for 87 yuans launched in World War II. First bombing. Their mission are the two bridges protecting Chev. Stop Polish troops from destroying bridges. The task is only partial because the Poles managed to blow up one of them. On the first day of Luftwaffe and Rank 80, not a big win. Luftwaffe, most of the troops sent to the rear of the line to destroy the Polish Air Force ground, but did not achieve the desired effect. The following day, German ground force, the tacit understanding with the Stuka fighter can whenever the Polish are when trying to stop a tank advancing at full, Stuka will fly over to help. In Poland, in the biggest counterattack launched in the Battle of 170 attacked the rear of the German 10th Army. But the counterattack was forced to end under Stuka's bombing. The Polish army was beaten to pieces, finally surrendered at Kutno. After the battle in Poland, Joseph Pell ordered the German propaganda department to promote the power of Rank 87 and claimed that if Britain did not share with Germany and must be hit by Rank 87, this is a blatant threat to the UK. In the spring of 1940, Scandinavian country campaign, Stuka and Messerschmitt Bf 109 did not intervene in ground warfare. Its Junkers 87 frequently sent to attack Allied warships. The mission of these wars to supply the Allied expeditionary force while preventing local Germans from getting supplies. Stuka Fidi Halsta, Namsos and Andersness attacks. Tried to allies in Narvik and Trondheim. In Narvik, Luftwaffe sinks a cruiser, destroy 2 cruisers and the strategic ship Resolve. The RAF recognizes the enemy.